For our math warm-up, I would like you to write the first three fractions as whole numbers, and the second three, write the whole numbers as fractions. Pause your video and complete that exercise now, please. Okay, for 6/3, our whole number would be the whole number 2. For 4/2, our whole number would be the whole number 2. And for 16/4, our whole number would be 4. Now, what I didn't tell you for the second part was to write each of those whole numbers as a fraction with a denominator of 3. Sorry about that. So if we do that, you can go ahead and pause your video and do that now if you'd like, or go ahead and stay on. But for number 7, we would write 21/3. For the whole number 3, we would write 9/3. And for the whole number 10, we would write 30/3. For our math message, I need for you to get out your math journal and open it up to page 243. Pause your video and see if you can't complete this math message problem here. So as you can see, I took these full circles and I divided them into thirds because our problem is 4 divided by 1/3. And then I counted how many thirds were in all of those circles all together. So our answer for 4 divided by 1/3 would be 12. How did you do? So today's lesson is using common denominators for fraction division. The reason we are learning about this particular lesson is we need to be able to make sense of division problems with fractions. We need to get really good at looking for patterns in solving fraction division problems. And how we're going to go about that is we're going to test a shortcut for fraction division problems by solving them in more than one way. So let's talk about the strategies. We have what's called a visual strategy, where we would represent the dividend with a visual model. For example, we might use fraction circle pieces or drawings. And we're going to think how many of the divisor are in the dividend. So this will be our visual model today. Our common denominator shortcut that I mentioned previously requires us to rename numbers with a common denominator and then simply divide the numerators to get our answer. So let's take a look at the first problem that we have here, 2 divided by 1/6. So if I were going to use the visual strategy, I might think that there are 12 1/6 in 2. So 2 divided by 1/6 is going to equal 12. Now, if I use the common denominator method, shortcut, I would say that 2 is equal to 12/6. And then 12/6 divided by 1/6. And then we look at our numerators, 12 divided by 1 equals 12. So my answer is 12. So 2 divided by 1/6 is 12. So notice I got 12 for the visual model, and I got 12 for the common denominator shortcut. So now let's take a look at our second example. We have 4 divided by 1/2. So our visual strategy, we're going to think that there are 8 1/2s in 4. So 4 divided by 1/2 is going to be 8. And we'll put a little bracket here so we can kind of separate that so you don't think that that's 8.5. And I should have done that over here as well. All right, so then we're going to go about and use our shortcut. So the whole number 4 is equal to 8 over 2, or 8/2. And then we bring down that 1/2 that we were dividing by. So 8/2 divided by 1/2. And remember, we're only going to divide the numerators. So 8 divided by 1 is 8. So we place that 8 here, and notice we've got an 8 using the common denominator shortcut, and we got 8 using the visual strategy. So let's take a look at using the shortcut method and seeing, does it work with dividing unit fractions by whole numbers? So we're kind of flipping the game here. So we have a unit fraction divided by a whole number, unit fraction divided by a whole number, unit fraction divided by a whole number. So again, we're going to use the shortcut method. So we're going to take 1/2 divided by 2, and we're going to change the 2 to a fraction. So that will become 4/2. So our new problem would be 1/2 divided by 4/2 equals, what does that equal? So if we take a look here, we ended up with 1/2 divided by 4/2, which is equal to 1/4. Or we would say 1/2 divided by 2 equals 1/4. So let's try our second example. We have 1/2 divided by 3. So again, we're going to take the 3 and we're going to turn it into a fraction. The 1/2 stays the same. So our 3 is going to turn into 6/2. Had to think about that one for a minute to equal 3. So we have 1/2 divided by 6/2, which equals 1/6. And then last but not least, we have 1/2 divided by 4. So again, we're going to take our fraction. We're not going to do anything with that. We're going to take the whole number 4. We're going to make sure that has a denominator of 2. So if we do 8/2, that's going to equal the whole number 4. So 1/2 divided by 8/2 is equal to 1/8. So let's summarize what we've talked about here today in today's lesson. We learned that the common denominator method works when you divide whole numbers by unit fractions. The common denominator method works with unit fractions divided by whole numbers. And we also learned that as long as the dividend and the divisor have the same denominator, the problem can be solved by dividing numerators. Thanks for watching.